I'll be here.
Our first speaker today is Daria Scholl. Did I say that right?
Darren.
It's got an N on the end.
Darren.
This topic is Tulpas, paranormal, and you.
Darren.
Darren has been involved in the paranormal and cryptid world since 1995. Along with starting DBK Investigations, he has also been the co-host of the Paranormal Crossings Into the Light, DBK Case Files, and DBK Unleashed. He has also appeared on numerous other podcasts as a guest. Darren was initially trained by paranormal investigators David Oster and his wife Sharon Gill before striking out on his own. Darren has participated in public investigations within St. Helens, Seaside, as well as private investigations around Oregon. So let's give a hand to Darren. Welcome, Darren.
Darren! All right, fun festivities. Savor of the dull moment.
Shenanigans.
All right, so the topic is Tulpas, paranormal, and you. Now this is a... No, there's not any technical issues here. There we go. All right. Well, that's it. Okay, in the 2019 Ghost Conference, my team was doing the bridge tender investigation when I was approached by a woman at the end of our investigation who said the following question: is it possible that we're creating Tulpas? Now, her entire questioning was, with the Tulpa, are we not doing this intentionally? And I'm picking on the bridge tender. I've been there, I believe in the ghost, but we're going to examine the question of what is a Tulpa? Because we're going to need to answer what is a Tulpa before we can go into do we think that we're creating Tulpas? Okay, Tulpas actually come from the Tibetan monks, and basically I am going to butcher this so much. They create a thought form out of meditation, concentration, and belief, which is called Tulpa, and I am probably butchering that, and which means to let emanations go forth. So basically what the process is that the Tibetan monks, that they're trying to have helpers around the monastery, is that they will meditate on a focus issue and create an imaginary friend, if you would, that would help them around the monastery with things that they need. 1929, Alexandra David Neal, she had gone over to Tibet, study with the Dalai Lama in 1914, and she was talking about the fact of 1912. In her book, Magic Mystery in Tibet, she was talking about how the fact that there were actual people walking around that were identified as tulpas, that these Buddhist monks would manifest these humans. Sorry, I'm getting a little feedback. I don't know if you guys got feedback out there. Anyway, so she had seen these people walking around, and when asked about it, they were like, "Oh yeah, that's our school pub. They're doing our gardening for us." Tulpa is a Western definition. It is, we created it, the name. It is a being or object created out of intense spiritual concentration for a specific goal or to assist our creators. So basically this would be like an imaginary friend. You would create it, it would be there to comfort you, talk to you. It is there to abide by your purposes, but it does have the possibility to develop its own personality, its own feelings, its own mindset. Now the way you make a tulpa is intent, focus, and belief. Your intent. I want someone to come and help me move this heavy load and garden and take care of the house. So you have to set an intent down first. This is going to happen. This is what I want it to do. This is what I need it to. Belief. Focus. Fire alarm. You're going around all over now. Focus. You have to meditate. Focus. You put in all your energy, your spiritual energy. You're conjuring this thing up, and then you have to believe in it. That this thing is real. This is not a figment of your imagination. It is one of a manifestation that you have to believe in wholeheartedly for it to manifest fully and to grow along with you. John Keel, I throw this up here because John Keel had a wonderful thing to say about tulpas. I am a John Keel fanatic. John Keel speculated that reports of ghosts or aliens that resemble pulp culture are merely just tulpas. His ideology on this one was, if you have been told about little gray aliens enough, eventually your mind will conjure up a little gray alien if you are wanting to see this one. Walter Gibson, he was the author of The Shadow, a series of books, and back in the 30s, I believe it was. His house has been haunted by a figure in a hat and a long jacket. And John Keel had gone on record stating that he believed that because of the fact that Walter had been so focused on his character, The Shadow, that he had manifested a tulpa that still resided in the house.
But I did.
Before I get to the next slide, I'm going to go a little personal story about tulpas and creation.
Okay.
When I lived in Montana back in 1991, I lived there in Glacier National Park. We had a ranger come over and talk to us one day. He said, listen, there's going to be a lot of animals in the woods. Here's what you need to watch out for. Here's what you need to be careful of. Then he added in something else. He said, but on the other hand, if you go into the woods and you're conjuring in your brain, you're manifesting, you want to see a bear. If you think long and hard enough, you're going to see a bear. One day I decided to go for a walk up into the park there. Had a lot of cars stop. Hey, there's a bear up ahead. There's a grizzly bear up around the bend. You don't want to be up there. You need to get in the car. You need to come across. It's a big bear. Another park ranger come along. The one park ranger who had talked to me about manifesting a bear came along and said, hey Doc, listen, we need to go. I'm like, well, I'm making enough noise. I'm scaring the bear. I'm doing everything he told us to do with the bear situation. He said, well, tell you what, I'm going to walk with you. As we get around the corner, we're singing, we're being ridiculous and loud and obnoxious. We come around the corner and we see in both of us spot a grizzly bear with his head down in a huckleberry bush. We started making noises, we started yelling out, hey bear, clapping something, trying to get his attention and get it to walk away. After a while, we started to notice that this bear is not moving, it's not looking at us, it's not doing anything. It is a giant rock. It has been there forever. He has been a park ranger for 20 years and driven this road for 20 years. And he looks at me and he says, we were duped. We were told there was a bear. Everybody told us there was a bear. We manifested a bear. It's just a giant rock. Some items of what may be a tulpa. Slenderman. Slenderman is an internet creation on CreepyPasta. It was done in 2009. We've all heard about the Slenderman murder, where the two girls had decided that Slenderman was a real being and that they were going to kill their friend for Slenderman. Now this could be an option of a tulpa because in fact it is a completely made up thing. But a lot of people have been citing it and seeing it and reporting on it. So are we not conjuring up Tulpa because now everybody's talking about it. So now we're generating that belief system of, okay, we're going to talk to this person, this person, this person, this person. We want to see Slender Man. So if we all concentrate on it, Slender Man would appear. Another wonderful happy Tulpa possible is the Hat Man. A lot of people talk about this one. This is also an internet creation. It's supposed to be a sleep paralysis demon. Now the interesting thing about the Hat Man, it was an internet creation. That one person went on and said, hey, I'm having sleep paralysis. This is what I'm seeing. Instead of a shadow man, it's a shadow man with a hat and red eyes. Well, the next person reads that post. They start seeing it. So on and so forth, it spreads. Now the show Supernatural actually did have an episode on this whole same thing. Because why wouldn't they? Season 1, episode 17, the show is called Hell House. The entire aspect of this episode is the Winchester brothers are called into a haunted house where people are getting killed. They come to find out that there is a story that's going around on this internet site. That anyone who goes in the house, if you're a woman, you go in the basement, you get killed, and then the ghost, who was the old farmer, ends up killing himself, and it just replays everything else. The Winchesters go and they find a guy who has a website and who is now perpetuating this myth. As people start adding more things to this webpage, what happens in the house starts to change. Now people are getting killed in different manners of what was originally said. The one comment that I had to put on here from the show, that was 20 months. Imagine what 10,000 web surfers can do. So the whole point behind that one is the fact that if you've got enough people believing in something and focusing on something, it is going to only get stronger and become its own entity. Alright, now this one's going to be an interesting one. They actually tried something called the Philip experiment back in 1972. The entire point of this entire project was to create a ghost and try to get it to actually talk to the researchers. Dr. A.R.G. Owen, poltergeist expert, he was the lead on this one. Everybody else was part of the Toronto Society for Physical Research. Eight of them sat down and they said, okay, we are going to create a Tulpa because we want to see if we can do it. They worked out this person's entire backstory. Philip Elstroport, where he lived, where he died, and his entire history. They came up with the fact that he was married to a abusive woman. He was a Catholic aristocrat. Lived in the mid-1600s. Lived in Binghamton, Manor. Married to Dorothea. Dorothea was just a horrible, controlling woman. Now, mind you, this is all just, they are constructing it with the 8 of them. They're focusing on it. They're going, okay, we're going to focus. We're going to make this guy real. And then we're going to try to report it. And we're going to make sure that we can actually look at it. Well, as they're making this up and they're getting this down, they're writing it down. They're trying to get scientific proof with instrumentation. Nothing happens for a year. They're just running into everything. It's just not working. 1 year later, the project is basically stalled out. One of them has an idea to make a seance. So in the seance, the same 8 people who have created Philip are now sitting around a table. They're trying to conjure up Philip. Now they're getting knocked through yes, no, tables moving, lights are going out, weird things are going on, and the character of Philip is responding to everything that they have come up with, and he's adding to it. So as Philip is adding to the story, they have somebody else who is now doing research on the history of the countryside. And they're coming to find out that everything that Philip is telling them is actually scientifically accurate and historically accurate. So now what they're thinking is, okay, Philip is growing. So So now they invite the public in to do seances with them. Philip grows stronger, more robust. He's answering questions. He's knocking on walls, doors. He's answering everything. He's become his own entity. Now the 8 people have kind of lost attachment to him. He is becoming who he wants to be. Now in the line of Tulpas, what they say is, eventually, if you give a Tulpa enough energy and enough attention, it will become its own entity, it will become its own person. So how would you get rid of a Tulpa? You quit believing it. You don't give it the belief, you don't give it the power, you don't give it the energy. So yeah, this went on for a while. They were doing a year-long seances every single week, and they had a lot of people come in and out. Philip continued to grow, and eventually they abandoned the project and they quit believing in Philip because of the fact that he was getting kind of crazy. There was a couple good movies out there that kind of base off of this project. There's The Others, and I don't remember the other one. So, back to that main question. We kind of covered a little bit. Now, Tulpas are going to go into a lot of stuff I could talk about for 6 hours on everything. And then we go back to the basic question. Is it possible at creating Tulpas? Now, for any of you that are going to do the investigations tonight or tomorrow, what's going to happen is you're going to walk into the bridge tender, you're going to walk into Times, you're going to walk into any of the other locations. The investigators are going to tell you the history of the building. We're going to tell you the ghost stories, and we're going to give you a little bit more insight into what's going on. So in a way, we're preloading your perception and what you are wanting to see. So in that area, are we creating Tulpas? Because of the fact that you're all paying to see something, we all want to have a ghost encounter on these investigations. So, questions that need to be answered to answer the main question. Multiple people focusing on the madam. We're going to go back to the bridge tent. Upstairs, there's the madam in the old brothel. Is there anything concrete on it being a brothel? No, there's nothing concrete on it being a brothel. Everything is basically kind of a hearsay. They think it is. There's no real record of it being a brothel. But they say that that's upstairs. There was the madam, there was the working girls. You're going to encounter all these things on your investigations. So, multiple people focusing on the madam. So when you get there, like I said before, we're going to explain it to you. We're going to tell you what's going on, the history of the place, the ghosts that are there. So at that point, multiple people focusing and putting their energy into it. Yes. The first condition has been met. We have enough people focusing on the matter. Even the business itself, they actually sell t-shirts and stuff. They basically freely go out and tell you, oh yes, upstairs was a problem. We have the madam, we have some working girls, we have a young boy downstairs, we have an older man downstairs. We have children in the next place. How many people are selling to do the bridge tender? Alright, so you guys gotta run into this when you go. So yeah, get with Dash, they'll talk to you. But I always have that one idea in the back of my mind of, are we creating this? Number 2, intent. Is there intent to see the matter? Of course there's intent to see the matter. We all want to see the matter. We're at a ghost conference, we're paying money to go on an investigation. We kind of want something to happen. 9 out of 10 times it's very quiet night. We're not going to see anything. We got to explain this as their own investigators. We have to explain to our people that yes, sometimes there will be something, sometimes there will not be anything. It all kind of depends on the situation. We've had people in the past at the bridge tender who have actually wanted to see the matter, wanted to be touched by the matter, wanted to be hurt by the madam. And nothing happens. It's just a really quiet night, and everyone's like, okay, well, you know, I really want to see it. So, yeah. Yes. People walk in on these things and they want to see the ghosts, they want to see the spirits, they want to have an interaction. So, yes, creating a tulpa, 2 options have been met. Now, I'm not saying, by the way, that she's a tulpa. This is just a question I got asked to me. And then the final one, good, the madam, be a tulpa. What do we have? We have intent, belief, and focus. So we're intent on seeing the madam. We're focusing on seeing the madam. We're believing in the madam. So could the madam actually be a tulpa that we keep feeding into year after year? Yes, she could be a tulpa. Personally, I don't believe she is a tulpa because of the fact that she's around all the time. But all the conditions would be there. If that lady was here, I would love to answer that question for her all these years later. Do I have any questions? A little short. Ain't much.